Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we're doing the next episode of the Goosebumps series. Episode number 7, and fortunately it is one that doesn't copy any book, or I should say, the title of any of the old Goosebumps books. So that is a good thing, I think. It's called the title of the episode is called Give Yourself Goosebumps, which is kind of their logo phrase.
What?
Well, I mean,
a logo
whenever they
phrase?
advertise the Goosebumps,
No, Safi. Give Yourself Goosebumps is the name of a series of the Goosebumps books where you pick out your own ending.
Okay.
It's a choose your own adventure. It has nothing to do with the regular Goosebumps.
There's no specific anything. It's just
a
general title of a whole series of books, which we had quite a few of them. And
it is not based on any of those books.
Not at all. It should link in with all these other episodes.
It's called Give Yourself Goosebumps for a really stupid reason that we'll get to in the episode. So, I mean, we should start off too. This episode, Safi didn't really know because she fast-forwarded, but this episode had like a 4-minute recap at the beginning. And you know why that is, though? It's because the show is so overly complicated and into itself that they have to do all this, like, explaining at the beginning of the episode as if we haven't seen the other episodes. I thought that was really bizarre, like 4 whole minutes. And then they start off the episode, and they're still playing, like, footage from the last episode at the end where he is turning into Harold. The Freddy Krueger Jr. So it was like really long, that recap. It was already a short episode, so I thought that was really stupid.
Well, I think it's really complicated anyway, because first of all, where we leave off from last week is all the kids, the ones whose parents are involved in the disappearance of Harold's friend, Slappy. Marco, get that away from my face. Oh, I'm not, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, alright, they're in the house, and Mr.
Brad,
their
Mr.
English teacher,
Mr. Biddle,
lives there, inherited the house.
Mr. Brattle.
He's explaining the whole history of what everything happened.
No, Safi, that was Harold explaining it.
No, I know, I was going to say that, but anyway, and then at the end he says, and Margot says, well, how do you know that? Because they all
Safi, we already watched it. We already went through that.
I know that, but anyway.
What the fuck are you doing?
Well, I'm just not going to do this. If you're going to Marco hates everything about this.
Get into the episode.
Well, I am.
Get into the crappy episode.
That's where they start. Well, anyway.
Talk about the part where it started to suck. At the very beginning.
Anyway, so they all the kids become entranced. It's like what happened with Margot. Whenever she would be she would be in a part of the scrapbook. Let's say they were in the auditorium.
Safi.
She would go back there in time,
Safi.
wherever they were. So they're now all in the house, and they can't escape. And their bodies, they're just sitting there on the couch where they were. And Mr. Biddle, who is really,
Mr. Bratt is really Mr. Biddle.
Who's really Harold Brittle.
Biddle
stands there, and he's turned into him in front of them, and then they all went into stasis, so to speak.
Well, let's get into the episode, because they want to leave, and then they look outside and see it's a big black
hole.
Abyss.
Yeah.
And the episode starts off already with trash, because one of the lines is like, oh no, how are we going to get out of here and go vote? We won't be able to vote now.
Oh my God.
Democracy is over. It's like, what the hell? Like, these are 16-year-olds or, like, whatever. Like, they're not 18.
That's
So,
right.
like, that
They
was...
couldn't vote even if they wanted
That
to.
was really, really weird. And it was such a cringeworthy agenda line, too, especially since it's near the election, whatever. How many weeks? Like, two weeks or one?
Well,
Because it's usually on a Tuesday.
This
so
isn't even a midterm. This is every November. This is like levies, and we're in Ohio, so we've got some big abortion issue. That's the biggest thing. But the rest of it's like a school levy and all kinds of other.
Well, the marijuana thing.
Well, I keep forgetting that. We have a marijuana thing.
Is very important to vote yes on.
Using marijuana into a recreational drug.
Then there's the stupid thing where we have to reaffirm something that they voted on in 2007, where Meyer was allowed to sell alcohol on Sundays starting on 2007. And so, like, the old people, they're trying to get that changed back again. So, we had to vote on that again. We already voted, but
we always vote absentee.
Yeah, but this whole line about we can't get out of here, so we won't be able to vote. Democracy is over. Like, just what the fuck?
We haven't even done the primaries for that. What they're talking about.
It's just so stupid. This show. It's like the lines are terrible. The story's terrible. The fanboys are terrible. Like, just everything about this show sucks. Except for, like, Justin Long. And then I guess the Haunted Mask Girl. Although, this episode, they kind of started to do some agendas with her, too. Like, they started to do a lot of agendas this episode. Right, Safi? Let's go through it.
Why?
Let's go to Nora at the asylum, where she reveals that she hasn't been taking the pills.
And she has a whole pile of them in a napkin.
And she says, like, look, what you did was illegal. And it's like, wait a second. Number one, why didn't you just say this whole it was illegal thing while you were in that position, in that care? Like, because if all that what she was doing was illegal the whole time, she could have just told her at any time. She didn't have to wait for the time to be up. Because she was doing something legal, right?
No, because we don't know the circumstances of her being in there. In other words, we know why she's there. We know the cops put her there. But they have different timelines. In other words, they might have a 24-hour hold, a 3-day hold, and a hold means they have to be there that amount of time.
It doesn't matter. If she knew that it was illegal and she had told her, then the CUNT, Carly Beth's mom, she could have let her go. She could have been like, okay, go, bye. But no, it's like she does it right at the end when her time is up, and then she shows her the pills, which they never do that. Like, in all these shows and movies, when someone doesn't take a pill, they never show the people in charge that they haven't been taking the pills. That's a complete, like, stupid thing. I don't know why they did that. That was stupid.
I don't know. I just think it's a personal thing.
Yeah, it's a personal retarded thing.
They went to high school together, and they're all in on a bad secret.
Yeah, but Carly Beth's mom is such a CUNT. Like, she's one of the worst TV characters I've ever seen. Like, I hate her so much.
Except she realizes in the end that Nora was right all along.
Was that her who went up to the... Oh,
yes,
okay.
It was.
Because I have a hard time with these characters because I just don't give a fuck about them.
I was trying to keep track of them and their names.
There's one black guy, so that's easy.
That is,
but, like...
Isaiah's father.
All the other people, it's like, who the fuck are they?
It's Ben. That's Ben. That's Isaiah's father.
Ben 10.
There's Sarah. That's the guidance counselor's wife who has been living somewhere else and came back, and he's the one that's having an affair with Nora. Nora's the one who was in the psychiatric place, and she is what's his name? The Go Eat Worms guy's mom.
Ow.
And then you have the beaded guy who's gay, and that is James.
Girly boy. What?
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to figure out who James is related to.
I don't know.
I don't know.
One of them.
Well, they didn't. Whoever it is, they didn't show that person in this episode.
So, anyways, let's see. And then there's this part where she's leaving, and Harold sees her on the elevator, and he starts like attacking her in the elevator with all these people around, and it's like,
it's Nora. He's talking.
Why
about
was
Nora.
he doing that? Like, that was stupid too. Like,
And
you're
Nora
just gonna
says-
start attacking people in front of all those people? Like, that's just stupid.
And Nora says, "What are you doing? Who are you?" He says, "You know who I am, or you know who I'm related to, or something like that." And she says, "Or we have a mutual friend."
Yeah, Safi's incapable of having an opinion, so
And
she's
she
just
says,
gonna recap
what
what
are you talking
happened.
about? And so then she can see his reflection in the silver of the metal and sees that it's Harold.
I bet people who watched the episode didn't know that.
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know, Marco. Why? Marco I don't even know why he wants me to do this stuff. If he doesn't like anything. He hates this series. And at least we have to give our opinion about it and why we're giving our opinion. Why it is what it is.
Well, get into the stuff
There
with...
just isn't much, really, there isn't much that happens. It's all very subtle.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get through it, and you just drag it out with, like, painstakingly recapping every single little detail about what happens.
And she's had it. And she tells her, quote, boyfriend, Margot's father, she's going somewhere. See, he's not part of this. Remember, he didn't grow up there. He went to school somewhere else, so he's not part of this conspiracy to get rid of Harold Biddle or his friend or both or whatever. And so he goes and says something to Ben, and Ben has a fit, and he runs and goes and somehow picks up that bitch from the psycho place, the mother.
Well, we should also say it was really funny because
Victoria.
After Nora left the boyfriend, he has a really goofy line where he says, "It's not your fig tree's fault, so I'm gonna water your plant anyway." And I thought that was a pretty funny
Totally
line.
out of it, and because he's not part of it.
Yeah.
But he did say, he made a realization. He said, they're all in on it, whatever it is. They're all part of it.
Yeah, because then he goes to talk with who'd you say his name
Ben.
was?
Ben.
Oh, Ben 10. He goes to talk with him, and after he says something about a dummy, Ben 10 just gets up and leaves. And he's just
He
sitting...
doesn't say anything. It's just the same thing. In fact, he didn't say... like at least Nora said, "Oh, I'll see you later, and I'll tell you when it's over," or something. And Ben just leaves, doesn't say anything.
He's like, WTF? Like...
Yeah, he's like, what the... But then he realizes they're all in on something.
And
he doesn't know what it is.
That was stupid, too, because it's like, isn't that, like, really suspicious to do something like that? Like, just get up and leave like that? Like...
They just feel like they don't need to explain anything to him for some reason. None of them.
Yeah.
Even Nora. Or even Sarah, his, quote, wife.
Yeah.
So he's out of the loop. And then Margot, when they were last together, I guess she really didn't know, the whole story anyway, so she couldn't explain anything even if she wanted. So they go to Nora goes to oh no, wait a minute, we have to get, well, anyway, this is a part that's really odd, and I don't get it, how it works. That's what I mean, they just make up this stuff, and, when they had the other Goosebumps, at least it was kind of, it may have been supernatural, weird, but this is almost totally inexplicable.
Well, it's like they just make things up as they go along.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's because they make it up as they go along. Harold, who's been impersonating Mr. the English teacher, he's in his body, it seems, and he drives around, he goes to his job, he goes all over the place, but then apparently back at the house, the real English teacher is there with the kids.
And I thought that was nice because I did complain in the last video about the fact that, like, we really didn't get to see Justin Long as a teacher for very much, so it was nice to see that again.
He was in, I would say pretty much almost the whole episode.
Yeah, so that was nice. That was the only good thing about the whole episode, was that Justin Long was in it, because it's like, if he's in it, it's like he's enjoyable to watch, and you can just kind of like ignore how bad the episode is, but then still give it a bad grade, you know, like, because he's just so good that it's like, it's nice to see him, but girly boy James, he's messing around with the cuckoo clock again. Like, he opens up the cuckoo thing to fuck around with the cuckoo clock, and I was like,
we're all looking at stuff
but
around
like,
the house,
why
trying to figure out how to get out of
why
it.
the hell would you be messing around with the cuckoo clock again after you just bumped into it and that magically changed time, whatever? Like, why would you do that? Like, that was stupid. And then there's this stupid thing where girly boy James, he wants to say bros before hoes, but he's so PC and he's such a snowflake that he's scared to say bros before hoes in front of the feminazi Margot, and so he says bros before homies, and it's like, God, this is so stupid. It's so unfunny. It's so cringe. It's so agenda filled trash. I can't stand this. Like, who wrote this? Who writes this crap?
I don't know. I didn't even pay attention to that.
Oh, you didn't? How do you... But that's the episode.
I know, but
you didn't pay attention to the episode?
It's just so blah.
It's there, though.
That part is just blah. But anyway...
So you're just going to pretend like it didn't happen?
No, I didn't hear it, I guess. It just flew past me.
He won't say bros before hoes because it's so offensive to the women there. It's just so offensive that he'll say that. Ooh, fuck you. Bros before hoes, bitch. Like, seriously, like, what a pussy ass bitch.
Or just don't say it.
Or just say it and man up. Grow a pair.
Just don't make this little queer change.
Yeah. Don't bitch out of it like Safi would do for not pretending like it didn't happen and then just cough.
I didn't even pay any attention. I didn't hear it.
That's bad because that means you didn't pay attention to other things and I did.
Well, that's because you're very nitpicky.
No, it's because I'm detail oriented.
And nitpicky.
No, that's not a nitpick, Safi. All these little things add up into one big thing. One big steaming pile of shit.
Okay. Come on, let's move on.
Oh, at least I'm just not sitting here coughing the whole review.
I can't help it. You're making it bad.
You're making it bad. Let's get through the rest of this. So, then they discover a white hole in the black abyss.
It's a white light.
And Carly Beth, she wants to go down there where they like tie like curtains to her, like a rope, and suspend her down to go in there and see what's there. And one of the guys says that like she shouldn't do that. And then the feminazi Margot has to jump in and say, "Why not? Isabella is a strong, independent woman."
Yeah, I heard that.
And I was like, oh my God. They just can't stop making this about their gender. God! Get off of your stupid gender bullshit.
Okay.
You're in this horrible situation and you're still making everything about your stupid gender.
Yeah,
it's cringe. So you thought it was dumb. You thought that was dumb.
I just it was. It's just to have those lines like that. It's so forced.
Yeah.
It isn't natural.
That's not natural.
Well, anyway, she goes down there, and I guess if it's one tug, she's fine, and if it's two, bring her up. And so she goes down there, and she walks around. It's like an old locker room of a high school, and she goes.
Oh, well, actually, we should also mention this is the part where she sees a picture of President Bill Clinton, and how does she say like, oh, that's President Bill Clinton. No, she doesn't say that. She says, oh, look, that's Hillary's husband. Like, what the fuck?
Don't ask me.
No kid would talk like that.
No.
You know who would talk like that? One of these SJW writers for this shitty show. That's who would talk like that. No teenager on the planet Earth would say, oh, look, President Bill Clinton. No, they wouldn't say it. They would say it's Hillary's husband.
And
like,
that's
what
not real.
a stupid thing to say.
Nobody would say that.
When you see Obama... When you see Obama, do you say, oh, look, that's Michelle's husband? Like, no. Nobody does that, except if you're an idiot.
Yeah, that was weird.
Really weird.
So she goes into this, it looks like an auditorium, and the place is full of people, but they're not people. They're puppets. And so...
I'd rather be a puppet than watch more of this show.
And then I guess the place starts shaking or something. And she runs to the rope as fast as she can. Well, I guess, now this is the really weird part. The guy playing Mr. Brad, the ghost, is running around. He's been watching Nora, and she stopped at this place to grab a box. She gets back in her car, and the scrapbook is to the right of him on the seat. And so I guess he knows she's doing that. And he tears the piece of paper out with the auditorium out of the scrapbook and wads it up. Well, that means the place where she is, it all starts rumbling and crashing down. So she gives two tugs. They barely get her to bring her up. But in the meanwhile, somehow they hit the real Mr. Brad.
He gets knocked against the wall. And I should also say too, it's really weird because Mr. Brad, he's the adult in the room, and for some reason, he doesn't even want them to attempt to do anything. He just wants to accept their fate.
Yes, which I
and
didn't agree with that at all.
That was really unrealistic and stupid for like a teacher, no matter how young he is, for this teacher character to just be like, let's just not do anything and accept our fate. Like
he did. He said that.
That's just
weird.
That's bad. That's bad writing right there. Like, that's, I don't know how you can defend that. Like, that's just stupid. Like, he could have at least said, like, let's wait and see what happens and maybe we can figure something out. Like, no, he says, let's sit here and accept our fate and get to know each other for eternity. Like, what?
Yeah, we could play charades or something like that, and Go Eat Worms guy says, no, I have a bad experience with charades.
Like, what?
It's just stupid.
Stupid.
So, but when that happened, when he got knocked into, somehow the guy driving his car and sitting there in the parking lot gets knocked in the face. And that means Mr. Brad can see where he is. And he can see the scrapbook, and he saw Nora go in and get the box and come out. So that somehow knocking into him connects him up with the guy driving the car.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, because they wouldn't have known that was going to happen. And so the rest of the episode is spent knocking into him to find out what's going on. And they managed to get the girl up. Well, apparently, I mean, they did it so many times, and I'm talking about hitting him in the face, all around his head. And he did that. The guy in the car became really disoriented. He could not turn the keys in the ignition. He couldn't function as what he was trying to as who he was trying to impersonate. And so he got the scrapbook and he threw it in a puddle of water. So you know something's going to happen that's not good, because it's like it rained and left a little puddle in a pothole. It's near the car, and he threw it in there. It just happened to land in there. I don't think that was a deliberate thing. And anyway, all the walls and everything in the house start leaking out water, and then that's where they end the episode.
And it also, the parents don't wonder where the kids are, which is really weird.
Yeah, he has their phones.
But the kids are missing, and like, it doesn't matter, like, oh, we won't be back for dinner, but like, where are they? Like, the parents don't even care.
I know.
They don't even question it. Like, they never even bring it up at all. It's just
Also,
whatever.
I have to say, you remember, Ben rushed out of that room, out of the house. Remember, he was talking to Margot's father. Margot's father told him about Nora. He ran out of there. Well, he met up and got together with Victoria. That's the bad mom.
That's the CUNT.
Who works in the mental health facility. And so she waits in the truck, and he goes in. It was in that place. It's I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a quarry.
It's the Dark Knight Rises hole.
Yeah, only it's not as deep, I don't think. And so he goes in there, and then he sees James, the one with the beads, on top of the hole. And then he I don't know, what does he do? He knocks something, throws something at him?
He throws the rope down so that he can't get out.
That's right. It made it to where he couldn't get back out. He'd gotten down there with the rope. And so then he goes back and he's walking down the path. And of course, Victoria gets out of the car, the bad mom. And she says, James, what are you doing? And he's got this bad look on his face. He's all dirty. And she says, what are you doing?
And this was probably the only time I liked girly boy James, is because I was like, yeah, kill that bitch. Like, knock her out. Knock her character out. Like, let's get rid of that bitch character. Like, yes. Let's have a death on the show finally. Like, it's about time, but no.
Well, he starts going after her. And she's like, what the hell is going on? And he says, I don't know who his mother is, but anyway, she says, why are you doing this, James? He goes, I'm not James, and so isn't my mother. I don't know who his mother is. And then all of a sudden, he's like right on her, and something bad's going to happen. And Ben got out of the hole somehow.
Magically.
We don't see that, and how he got out without a rope, I have no idea.
He's got superpowers and he jumped out.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty steep hole.
Yeah, like, they just don't even bother explaining that. Like, is that a nitpick, Safi? Really?
I know.
Oh.
It's very
okay.
wide, too.
That's what I thought.
It'd be really hard to get out. And so he climbed out somehow, and he has a baseball bat. And what is it? She has a baseball bat or whatever.
No, it's a plank. It's a 2x4 thing.
Oh, okay.
It's not
that makes more sense. And whacks him, the James, and of course that's what James is. Remember the episode where the real James gets duplicated over and over? This is one of the duplicates, and when they whack him, he turns into Goo Boy.
Well, I thought it was really hilarious because right after they do that, the CUNT says, this just goes to show Nora was right all along. And it's like, that, like, wow. That's such great character development, Safi. Like, wow. Good job, writers. Wow. That's so great. Like, the character development is just amazing. Like, Safi, is that a nitpick to criticize that, or is that just fucking retarded?
I couldn't believe it.
That's what I thought.
She said that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very bare episode again, and it was like a tie-in episode, but it's just these lines, this writing, and this isn't a complicated story. And did they really have to insert this kind of crap? You know.
No, they didn't.
And couldn't they? I guess Nora was right all along. Really? You fed her drugs for days on end?
Yeah.
And now you're willing to admit she was really right all this time?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta wonder with all the things going on, weird stuff, and are people that simple-minded, or people who are bad?
Simple-minded.
They really underestimate innocent people like that. You know, it just blows my mind. So anyway, we end it where Mr. Biddle, the fake Mr. Biddle, or Harold Biddle, is in a car. He can't do anything. He, for some reason, like I said, he's almost like his hands are frozen. He can't do he can't turn on the car, so he can't go anywhere. He's kind of stuck there in the car because can't move his arms and hands right. And then the scrapbook has been thrown in the water, and the house is starting to, I don't know, cave in because it's.
I don't know. I thought that it was going to flood or something, but it looked like the walls were turning into paper or something.
I don't know.
And so I think that in the next episode, he'll have to go to a next page and write for them to get out or something like.
But he can't even turn the ignition in the car. I don't know how he's going to do that.
He'll magically be able to do it.
Yeah, like the other guy magically jumped out of the hole.
You know how this show is, Safi. Like, remember when the girl had the haunted mask on and then she's just magically able to get it off? Like, which is fucking retarded. Like, so it'll just conveniently happen next episode. I'm calling it. I'm predicting it. It'll happen right off the bat.
What is the name of the next episode? Because wasn't that
the name of the next episode is called "You Can't Scare Me," which is
a title, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a title, and so it's going to be another bastardization of the books where it's not the book at all, because that story is probably one of the weakest books in the series, and you know what it's about. It's all about those prankster guys who are pranking that girl, and they want to scare her, and because she's not scared of anything, and she's really like uppity, and then they're like, well, you should come and see the mud monster, and then they all go there, and like the mud monsters are only in the book for like one page, and then they run away out of the forest, and the forest fucking floods or whatever, or there's an avalanche. I can't remember, but it's not a very good book, and you know that the show isn't going to do that book justice at all, or even attempt to.
Interesting.
But they call this episode "Give Yourself Goosebumps" for the stupidest reason, all because at the end it's like Mr. Brad has to go into the world when he gets knocked in the face. And he has to write the kids and him out of the house. He has to write them out of the house in the scrapbook.
And that's what he's talking about, too. He was talking about doing it. He says, I'm kind of a bit of a writer. I've written for some, literary magazine. I've written horror stories. And so, yeah, that's right. He's planning to do that.
So
he said that for 2 seconds. That's
why this episode's called Give Yourself Goosebumps, which was just really, really... like, that's
weak.
That's
very weak.
That's another episode about the haunted scrapbook, Safi. That was really that was something.
But involving them all, not just that girl.
Yeah.
And the teacher, which is kind of odd too. He's not in the scrapbook.
I guess he put him in there, and that's how he...
But we haven't seen it, have we?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It just... The show does what it wants, and then, of course, people say it's really good because they don't have any critical thinking skills. So, Safi, what would you give this shitty episode?
I'll just give it a C.
I give it a...
He's going to give it a real good grade, can't you tell?
I give it a D+.
For that writing. That stellar writing.
I give it a D+ because, and only for Justin Long and the guy who plays the counselor. The guy who plays the counselor was funny in this episode.
He is, because he's not in on any of it, and he's just so... He tries to compensate for it by being funny.
And then Justin Long... He's in the whole episode, so that's a plus. But I'm not giving it anything above a D+. So that's just, Safi.
I said C. It's just average. It's very
Well,
average and very...
What do you hope to happen next episode in the You Can't Scare Me bastardization?
I have no idea. I did not read that or see it.
Yeah, you did. You saw the episode. We watched that earlier this year.
I did? That must be
with the mud monster.
That must be how good it is. I can't remember.
The episode was pretty good. Remember they had the salmon with cream cheese?
I just remember be scareful. Is it be scareful what you wish for or something?
No, it's just called Be Careful What You Wish For.
That's a good one.
I know that is.
I haven't read the book, but I have seen the episode a couple of times. Okay, well, that's it, everybody. So, I don't know. What's next, Marco?
Well, hopefully something where they don't say out loud that another character is a strong, independent woman, because I'll fucking jump off a cliff.
They don't need to say that either.
Yeah, that's bad writing.
She's brave.
They didn't need to say that in the movie I saw yesterday in the theater, and they don't need to.
The next thing will be Marco saw.
I already did that.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, I do my reviews really fast.
Well, he did his review really fast, so you've probably already heard it already, or you will if you go to the channel and you check out the latest reviews.
They didn't need to call her a strong, independent woman. She just was strong and independent. So, that's
you don't have to say this isn't a book. This is video, so you can show and not say.
And that movie was written by someone with talent, so
Yeah, of course. Anyway, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers so you can tell us what you think about the episode, the other episodes, and where you think this is going. What's going to happen?
It's going to hell.
So, let's say she gets all the parts to Slappy, and is she going to put them together for him?
Probably.
Or give it to him and he's magically going to touch it and it's going to come together magically.
Well, there was one shot in the trailers where Slappy's in the snow or something, and so I don't know when that is in the timeline, or he's just like laying down in the snow.
Lying down in the snow.
And who knows if he's alive or not, because apparently that doesn't really matter in the show either, because it's really easy to defeat him. You can just stuff him in his case and put him in the wall, and he'll never bother you again. Or you can bury him, and that'll just totally work. Unlike on all the other shows and movies.
It isn't like that in all the other stories with him.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to get rid of him than that. Even in the original stories, it was a lot harder than that. Remember how they went out and they threw him in the garbage can outside,
and then
way out in the front yard,
and he's back in there, and then they throw him in the well, and you can hear him splat at the bottom of the well, and he gets out like a couple minutes later, like
yeah, I know. So I mean, that's why I say it's.
Is that a nitpick, Safi?
That's called they really do not know the stories at all.
Well, I thought it was a nitpick, because you just say I nitpick everything.
Do you think that they... I don't know. I just don't understand. I'm still baffled as to why they use the original stories.
I don't know either.
Lines. I mean, original story titles.
Why? Because they can, I guess.
But that's not an excuse.
Well,
it really isn't. I guess that's a new thing that people who are weak-minded like to say nowadays. We did it because we thought we could.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the writer, so don't ask me.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.